Hello, lovely people of the internet. Brian here from NintendoEverything.com, joined by Austin, and we'll be discussing all of Nintendo's E3 2015 plans today.
That's right, I'm back. We've decided, as part of your learning experience for learning how to pronounce Don's name, we wanted to give you a break from it to see if you remember it next week. So I've been brought on to help you.
But yeah, it's good to have you back. I know some people want to see you on more of these, so, we did a video last year talking about Nintendo at E3. We did one before the event, and then we did one after, so I thought it'd be good for old time's sake to do another one of these.
Yeah, it's going to be maybe slightly less exciting than last year's, but still good.
A little bit, but yeah, let's get right into it. And we now officially know pretty much everything that Nintendo's doing at E3 this year, and it was all announced in a new video. It wasn't Mega 64 like last year, but they still kind of did this skit thing. It was with Reggie basically training for the Nintendo World Championships, which we'll get into, and it was just a funny little skit, I guess.
Yeah, it was really.
I thought it was nice.
It's I think overall the humor in this was like a little bit more mixed between kind of humor that kids would really like, and then also humor that kind of the Mega 64 crowd would get into, because they had the little bit at the end where they're just like, "Oh, Bill Trinen, you're fired," and I thought that was a pretty funny little just sudden cutaway that they did. But then there's other moments, of course, where they bring in this little kid to be Reggie's replacement and stuff like that. So I thought it was a really good video. I definitely gave it a couple of good laughs.
Yeah, it seems like it was something they did in-house rather than, going with Mega 64, but
yeah, well,
I think it was totally fine.
You can tell by the... some of those people, let's just say, aren't natural actors like Mega 64.
Reggie was good, though, I thought.
He's always good. Reggie's always great.
Yeah, and I think people love, just seeing Nintendo being silly. They did that thing in the digital event last year with Reggie and Iwata fighting, so...
Yep. Yeah, so I think...
People like that kind of stuff.
You really gotta... It makes them seem a lot more self-aware, rather than kind of just a big, mysterious, non-human corporation, which they have seemed in the past, so it's good to see kind of more personality and self-awareness from them.
Yeah, for sure. So, one of the things we did talk about was the Nintendo World Championships, and that's a pretty big deal because it's the first time that this is coming back in 25 years.
Yeah, and I don't know how big of a deal it really was 25 years ago. I wasn't paying attention, primarily because it was before I was born, but ever so slightly before I was born. But my understanding is it was a pretty, among the Nintendo crowd, it was a pretty big thing. Is that the thing that was featured in that movie, The Wizard?
I think it was loosely based on The Wizard or something.
It wasn't necessarily exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I don't know too much about it either because it was also before my time. But
yep.
It's nice to see it coming back, and it's kind of another just thing Nintendo's doing to bring the community together and have fans participate in a different way. Last year was the Smash Brothers tournament, so just building on that.
Yeah, but if you walk through this, 1990, it's the year 1990. Nirvana's hitting it big. It's a great time. The games they played were things like Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and things around, I don't even know if there were Super Nintendo games in it, or I don't know how many of them there were, but at least in the 1990 one, which looks like it was the only one. Yeah, they were playing all NES games, so I don't know what the games that they're going to be playing this year are. I wonder if they're going to go like Mario Maker, Splatoon, Smash Brothers,
Mario Kart, probably.
Yeah. I think that'll be fun to see, because in the video, Reggie was playing with the Power Pad on the NES, or whatever the heck that's called, and he was playing a lot of really old school games, and they were alluding to Punch-Out and things like that, so I wonder if it's going to be a wide breadth of games from all across Nintendo's history, or specifically games they're showing off at E3.
Yeah, that is interesting, I think they would want to promote some of the recent stuff, but it would be nice to see some of the older titles as well.
Yeah, and this is going to be post-Splatoon launch, so it's possible. I would bet you that Mario Maker is going to be there, because they're doing the Best Buy thing, which we'll talk about later with that. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how this ends up running.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and that's going to be on June 14th, which is the Sunday before E3 officially begins. It's June 14th is the Sunday, and then E3 begins on the Tuesday. Yes,
and I think their digital event is on the Tuesday, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it the same? I heard rumors that it was the same, or not rumors, but people were guessing that, because I think Square Enix took that time slot for their press conference. That is true. It's the same one? Yes?
Yep.
Interesting.
But people are going to have to choose between that one and Nintendo's. Some people may do like a dual setup where they're watching both at the same time. But
yeah. I mean, the smart folk of the world who can pay attention to two things at once. But for me, when Bill Trinan's on the screen, I can't pay attention to anything else. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then he pretended he got fired, which I thought was pretty great.
Yeah, he got me on that one. I posted about that on the site. And then, of course, a few minutes later, he ended up saying it wasn't true, basically, because...
Yep.
It was a part of that video.
It was nice. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to. I believe they're going to live stream it, or I would assume they would. So I'm excited to look forward to watching that rather.
Yep. And then we also know that the Treehouse is coming back, which is going to be great based on what we saw last year.
Love that Treehouse.
And as he said, there's going to be Mario Maker at Best Buy, so people can go out to their local Best Buys on I think it's June 17th and June 20th, and there's select hours that you can go and just play Mario Maker.
Mm-hmm. Much like they did with Smash Brothers last year. Is that what that was?
Yeah. They did this originally like 2 years ago, and I think when they did that, they had a number of games, and this time we're only getting one. I can't remember.
I think it was Mario Kart 8, and then a couple. I remember Mario Kart 8 being one of the games that you could play at Best Buy. It was E3 2013. But I don't remember what the other two games that were with it were. It might have been DK Tropical Freeze and something else, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, but so in any case, you only have this game to choose from, but, it's better than nothing.
Oh, well, for the folks that want to see Mario Maker, I mean, one of the things about it that I think is cool is, you remember probably better than anyone the Wii days, when Nintendo would create these very good games, stuff like Wario Land Shake It. Those things would be coming out, Excitebots, Trick Racing, and they wouldn't promote it at all. They would just plop it out, and it wouldn't sell anything, and no one cared about it. Now we're kind of finally entering a new age because they're losing the sales thing with the Wii U. They're promoting Splatoon really heavily, it seems, from an outside perspective, and they seem to be starting to push Mario Maker. So, I mean, I'd be really happy to see their two sort of big franchises this year be something like Mario Maker and Splatoon, which are two franchises that effectively didn't exist before. They're effectively new IPs. Mario Maker, of course, uses the Mario veneer, but in terms of the style of game it is. So I think it's really cool that we're actually getting brand new games from Nintendo, and they're not ignoring them. Like DK Tropical Freeze, they pretty much ignored.
Yeah.
Not a new game technically, but a great game nonetheless. And I'm really happy that that's not what's happening, at least with Splatoon and Mario Maker. So you wonder if they're going to give the same push to a niche title like Star Fox. That would be cool.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about. Like you said with Splatoon, they seem to be promoting it heavily, and that does seem to be correct based on all the ads that we're seeing. We've already seen 2 commercials for North America. We've seen commercials for Japan and Europe. So
they got banners up at Best Buy. Of course, they're advertising at the Mariners games, but they always do that with stuff. So that's pretty standard fare. Since I'm guessing it's pretty much free for them to do that. But yeah, it's I really like kind of the air that Nintendo has around them now. I think it's really cool.
Yep, I agree. So since this is our basically E3 video in its entirety, so let's just kind of talk about the Nintendo Digital event, since I think that's going to be the main attraction for some people. And of course, we know that Star Fox is going to be there, but a lot of other games are kind of question marks. We could see stuff like Devil's Third, which we haven't seen in a year.
I wonder.
I'm sure they're going to talk about Smash Brothers DLC. We're probably going to hear about Xenoblade Chronicles X, but.
So are you trying to coax me into doing a predictions game? Are we going to do this?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. We should do predictions because...
All right. You have to go first then. You have to go first if you want to play predictions.
Oh, God.
You got to come up with whatever.
I'm not even good at predictions.
Well, all right. I'll go first because I do have one that I think is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be at the digital event, but I'm predicting more Mario Kart 8 DLC. I think we're just going to get more tracks or more something from that because I feel like those are really, really good press for them, and I feel like they're not making them a ton of money, but they're probably selling more copies of Mario Kart and keeping that game in the public conscious. So I don't see a reation why that needs to die. I think we're going to get more Mario Kart 8 DLC.
That is interesting. They kind of hinted at more Mario Kart 8 DLC in their latest financial results. One of their documents basically said that more DLC is planned. Well, I don't want to say it like that. But
yeah, it wasn't quite as concrete, but they didn't close the door on it.
Yeah, basically. They kind of hinted at more DLC.
So, that's my first prediction. What have you got?
Well, let's see. I could see a port of either like a GameCube or another Wii game coming to the new 3DS.
Oh, that does seem pretty likely. Yeah, I don't know what game it would be, but I think...
I could just throw out Super Mario Sunshine, since that's one that a lot of people want to see.
I hope it would be Sunshine, because I know people were... There's been like a bunch of prankster jokes and rumors, and not rumors really, but speculation that Twilight Princess is going to be. And we don't need another Zelda remake on 3DS. We already have 2, and we got one of them this year. So I think a new Mario like remake kind of thing would be cool, because the last time we had that was Mario 64 DS, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll take Mario Sunshine in 3D, maybe even on Wii U, depending on how that happens. All right, I predict that I'm going to just close the door on F-Zero and Metroid. I think those are certainly not going to happen. So mine's a negative prediction. No F-Zero, no Metroid. Everyone always predicts those, and we're always wrong about them. So I'm just hedging my bets. No F-Zero, no Metroid. I'm calling it now.
Since you're getting into Metroid, the fact that they delayed Zelda kind of puts a damper on things for me a little bit, because the 3 franchises that really get me hyped among anything else is Zelda, Mario, and Metroid.
Yep, the standard, the Nintendo Triforce of games.
Some people don't care about Metroid. It's not, like, obviously the best-selling series around, and it doesn't always get the most attention like Mario would, but, Metroid, I would really like to see a new game already.
I think it'd be great. I could deal with a one on 3DS or one on Wii U. I'd love a side-scrolling one on Wii U, like another sort of Metroid Zero Mission vein game, either for 3DS or Wii U. I think it'd be great. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they're probably thinking to themselves, well, Metroid's never been a great seller. Prime got them a lot of good publicity for the GameCube, so that probably helped GameCube sales to an extent. Other M wasn't received well, didn't sell very well, and they've got the NX looming on the horizon, so the idea that they would put a whole bunch of effort into a new game that we haven't heard about, like a really big production, and put it on something like Wii U or 3DS. Maybe 3DS, because 3DS is looking pretty bare right now. There's pretty much nothing. But I don't think if Metroid's coming, it's not a Wii U game. I really doubt it. But the thing about predictions is they are, I would say, probably 170% always wrong. So maybe we will see Metroid.
That is interesting to think about. Last year, if I'm remembering correctly, Kotaku did an interview with some of the folks at Nintendo, and they basically, one of the people said that they feel like they need to take care of those who enjoy the Prime style Metroid games and the more traditional style of Metroid games. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that kind of suggested that they have some sort of plans for both 2D and 3D Metroid.
Well, and I've heard on other various podcasts, I don't remember if it was Nintendo Voice Chat or what, but one of the predictions I had heard thrown around was that we would see a situation like we did with Prime and Fusion, where we get 2 Metroid games in 1 year, one portable and one for console. I don't know, I just don't see it happening. I don't think we have ever been that lucky with Nintendo since then in terms of games being released, because I think that was the same year that in Japan Wind Waker came out also. So that's like a Mario, Zelda, Metroid all in the span of a month and a half. Or something like that, some short span of time. And Nintendo releases are pretty sparse, generally speaking. They're always good, but they're sparse. And so, I think Wii U's calendar is pretty filled out. I don't know what else you might... I would be surprised if there was another Wii U game that was pretty big that was announced for this year, and it didn't also come with a delay for something like Xenoblade or Star Fox. If Xenoblade, Star Fox, Mario Maker, everything, all of that is all coming out this year, I don't see another big Wii U game to go along with that. I think we're pretty filled out, so. But 3DS, that's fertile ground, I think, for something like a Metroid. Because the 3DS has nothing. I don't think. I'm pretty sure. Is there anything coming out for 3DS this holiday that is not like Puzzle and Dragons or Yokai Watch?
Honestly, I don't think so. From the top of my head,
it was
I can't.
Codename Steam, Xenoblade, Yokai Watch, Puzzle and Dragons, right?
Yeah, and we don't even technically know if Yokai Watch is coming this year.
True. Yeah, I think they announced it for next year, didn't they? I think that's it was. I might be wrong, but I thought I heard 2016 thrown around with that. So
the press release didn't say, so
okay.
I guess
well, then it could be either, but either which way, I'm not getting Yokai Watch. So what from Nintendo is what is on 3DS? There's got to be something, right?
Yeah, they need some. I would say at least a couple of games for the rest of the year.
Have they ever not had a big holiday game? Because I know, 2008 for Wii, which was the Animal Crossing City Folk, they almost didn't have any games for the holiday for Wii. But then they ended up having even something like Animal Crossing, so you gotta wonder, there must be something for 3DS. Metroid's a possibility. Maybe a new Mario game, like a new 3D Land, or a remake, or I guess is sort of where you could go aside from that.
Yeah, I don't feel like something like Pokemon is coming this year, because usually they would have announced it at this point.
Mm-hmm. They usually don't announce those at E3, so at the very least, we shouldn't be looking towards E3 for the announcement of the next Pokemon, because don't they normally hold events in Japan for that specifically?
Yeah, and usually there's leaks out of the Japanese magazine Koro, so yeah, I don't know what's coming to 3DS this year. I hope they announce
3DS, maybe they'll
things.
just announce the next handheld system somehow. Or we can just all buy smartphones, and we can buy their smartphone games. Those will be fun.
And I also don't think we're going to see Retro's game this year.
What was Tropical Freeze 2013 or 2014?
Wasn't it last February?
Yeah, it was early 2014. February 13th it came out. So, yeah, no, you're probably right in that case. Unless they had a team simultaneously working on something else, which they very well could have, because they had all the expertise and the engines and the general flow of development in place for something like Tropical Freeze. You could see them having another team developed alongside. Maybe they were working on something like, say, Metroid Prime 4 or whatever. And Nintendo said, we need more Wii U games. Can you make another Donkey Kong? And they said, absolutely. And then sort of worked on them in tandem. That's you could see that, but the turnaround for a big retro game, I think, is bigger than even 3 years, which is about how long they would have had since, I believe, trying to think, the first Donkey Kong Country Returns was late 2011 or 2012? It was late 2011. Or 10. Dates are hard.
Actually, yeah, it was. I think it was 2010, because it was announced
yeah, in that case, if it's 2010, 2014... what were they doing for 4 years? They weren't.
I don't know.
No, yeah, you could see a retro game, I guess, given that. If Donkey Kong Country Returns was 2010, which I'm going to look up right now to be sure, it was 2010. That's a total of 6 years, or 5 years, I suppose, that they're playing with between that game, 4.5 if you want to be picky, but between that game and right now. And the idea that they spent 4 of those years, 3.5 if you want to be picky, developing Tropical Freeze seems strange. But,
yeah, I don't know.
They were helping with Mario Kart. They helped with they helped with what's the other one? Not Xenoblade. That was some other Nintendo team. They helped with something else. Retro's always helping. It's kind of like how Monolith will always lend their expertise to various people. But Retro helped with Mario Kart. And you could see them having helped with various other people. I think they were one of the developers that Nintendo tapped to help people learn how to develop for the Wii U. I think there was a story about that a couple of years ago. So maybe they were fed up or fully tapped out you doing stuff like that, I suppose.
So Retro's game probably is not going to be there, but I think it's possible that maybe we'll hear about Next Level Games' new project. They did Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. That was a few years ago.
They made Punch-Out! Great game.
Yeah. So I feel like could be their time to announce what they're working on next.
It's been a while, and they teased Punch-Out! In that video, so if you want to follow that thread.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else they could show. We have some known entities, but obviously we want to see some new things as well.
Well, and again, always what happens is Nintendo has their E3 press conferences. You go back and look at your predictions, and every single one of them was wrong. So
yeah, we're probably completely wrong.
Most likely, I think people tend to overshoot and expect more than actually what comes. So I think bets like no retro game are probably safer than yes retro game. Because generally you get less than what you hope for. People always say, this will finally be the year we get Mother 3 is going to be localized and there's going to be a new Metroid game and then Mario. That never happens. That's literally never happened. At least not since like the Wii days. But so keep your expectations low. They're gonna announce some good stuff. Star Fox is there, and if that's good, I'm pleased.
Yeah, that's the one big game we know that we're gonna be seeing for the first time, and it's completely new.
Mm-hmm. If it comes out this year, could be delayed.
Let's hope not.
No, maybe there'll be a Mario game or something this holiday for Wii U in its place.
But we already have Mario Maker.
Yeah, I think that's the real thing that kind of puts a nail in that coffin. A lot of people saying maybe we'll get like a 3D, an open world kind of Mario game. I don't think that's going to happen. They're taking long enough with an open world Zelda. I don't think they're speedy at making those kinds of big open world games.
Yep. So, any final thoughts on Nintendo at E3 this year?
I liked their video. I thought it was funny. So that's pretty much all. I know I'm going to be relatively satisfied. Or, I'm sorry, I should say my satisfaction hinges entirely on the voice acting quality in Star Fox. If it's good, I'm there. If it's bad, I'm done. I'm quitting all Nintendo games. I'm a big Star Fox guy.
Don't do that.
I'm going to quit all Nintendo games until they make a good Star Fox game. It's been too long since we got a proper one, and I want one.
Just quickly, I'm going to be very curious to see who's developing this, because last year, Miyamoto said that they were looking for a partner to help work on the game.
It's Hideki Kamiya.
Yeah.
I bet it is. I bet it is. It's Platinum. Who else is it? It's either Platinum or it's Treasure.
Unless they're somehow developing it in-house.
I doubt it. It seems like Miyamoto doesn't want to be involved with it, actually. That could be okay, because it was his idea to take the series where it ended up anyway. But it seemed like from the various interviews I sort of read and the way that they approached revealing it, that Miyamoto was more interested in Project Giant Guard Bot or whatever and the other one, and they wanted to find someone to do this that wasn't in-house, because they wanted to spend their time working on other stuff like Zelda. So, alright, I'll give you 3 possibilities. It's either Platinum or it's Treasure. Those are pipe dreams. It's not going to happen, but I wish they would. Or it could be someone smaller like Shinen, or like another kind of next level monster games sort of thing. But neither of them have done Wii U games, so I'm really not sure. But Shinen has been taking a very long time on their Retro Racer Super Rad Fun thing. And
Fast Racing
Neo. So maybe the reason that's taking so long is because they're making Star Fox.
I highly doubt it, personally.
Probably not, but I don't know who else you would point to. They're not going to hire Sony Santa Monica to do it, or they're not going to go to Bungie and say, hey, that'd be awesome, but it's not going to happen. So
I guess we will see. Mm-hmm. We're actually only 5 weeks away now, so not too long.
Coming up.
Yep. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up this week's Just a Chat, and when E3 is all said and done with, I think we'll be back with another video to talk about everything that happened, and we'll laugh and talk about how all of our predictions were wrong.
Exactly, and we'll talk about how great it is that they revived Project Hammer.
That would be cool.
It's coming back.
Hopefully.
It's not coming back.
Yeah,
apparently they developed it for a year and a half or 2 years after that announcement before they actually canceled it, so...
That is sad to hear.
Yep, they were really working on it, and then it just didn't come together.
Alright, I think on that note, before we get off on any other tangents, we are going to sign off for today, but we will see you next time.
Yep. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.